Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another movie review. This time we're going to be talking about Resident Evil Extinction, which came out back in 2007, and is the third entry into the Resident Evil movie franchise. To start off, I just want to say I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with these movies. For quite a long time, I was on the board of, oh, these films are complete, garbage, they're awful, things like that, because I'm a big fan of the video games. I've highly enjoyed every single one of them I've played. I've even really liked 5 and 6. I haven't gotten around to playing 7 yet, but it sounds good for the suspense and more of that type of stuff being brought back, although I wish it was more tied back to some of the other characters, but that's a different video. So I was always a little bit offended by the movies because as a fan I knew that the games, they brought suspense, they brought at least a fun story like Resident Evil 6 had, in my opinion, and it was a little more complex, whereas the movies, they sort of simplified it, they changed a lot of things, they hardly involved any characters in the games. When they did, they weren't really quite themselves. But for the past little while I've been trying to look at them differently, and I reviewed the first Resident Evil as well as Apocalypse on my channel already. I thought they were fine. I thought they were okay. And I just watched Extinction about a day or two ago, and I'll be honest, I actually kind of liked it quite a bit, to be totally honest, which I was kind of surprised by. And I know some people are wanting to have my head on a pike for saying that, because these films just get bashed left and right. The last one that just came out recently is getting Fs across the board, and hate comments left and right. I haven't seen that one yet, but I probably will once I see the others. But I'm actually starting to find these films to be pretty fun, honestly. Part of me still is pretty irritated that they're just not what the games are, and that's still a letdown for sure. They're still not nearly as good as they could be, for me anyway. But I'm trying to look at them differently. I'm trying to see them from a different perspective, because not only am I a fan of the games, but I'm also a horror fan. I've watched a lot of good horror movies. I've watched a lot of bad ones, and I'm trying to look at this movie like just an action horror movie. I'm not trying to solely think of it, oh, this is them trying to be a Resident Evil adaptation. I'm not trying to think about that. I'm trying to think about enjoying a good action horror movie, and I liked it when I took that approach to it. I know it's not going to work for everyone. People are just going to, throw my opinion under the bus and everything like that. But for me, it's working, doing it that way. And I think Resident Evil Extinction might overall be my favorite movie of the series yet. I'm not sure. Because I see the first one as a decent zombie film. And then the second one I liked parts of. I thought Nemesis looked good. I liked the feeling and the tone given from actually being in Raccoon City. I thought the action sequences in this one were a little bit superior, and I thought Milla Jovovich brought a better performance in this one, but she's kind of given more to go off of as well. I'm getting to like Milla Jovovich a lot too. I pronounced her name incorrectly for so long. I used to say Jovovich, but I guess it's Jovovich, which actually rolls off the tongue a little bit better, so I'm going to go with that. I'm getting to like her quite a bit. At first, I found her kind of bland in these movies, but I'm starting to get behind her a little bit more, I'll admit. She's really proving herself. She does obviously have a good time making these movies with her husband. This one is again directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. I just did a review on Alien vs. Predator as well, which I'm a big fan of too. He's clearly aware of what these movies are. He's not trying to be a certain thing. He just enjoys making these action horror themed movies, and he's aware of how critical reviewers are. But he still enjoys making them, and they make a ton of money, so let him do his thing, I guess. I know this movie, I'm really briefly going to explain the story to this one. Of course, it continues from Apocalypse. We start off with that. We see the whole world. It's been, dried out pretty much. And, the release of the T virus at the end of the last one has dried out, even the lakes. It's just turned the whole world almost into, a desert, type of environment. At first, it all seemed kind of like a little bit jarring that, we went from like this big, dark city into like just an endless desert, really, with some building ruins here and there. So I'm debating if I actually like that setting better than like the environment we got from Raccoon City. But I'll admit, I did like this as well. It is a bit more typical post-apocalyptic as far as environments go in this one, because we've seen like this post-apocalyptic desert thing in a lot of movies, games, and things like that before. But I still thought it worked for what it was. We did get some good shots. I definitely like Alice's get up with her long sort of like duster trench coat type of thing, and I liked all her sleeves and stuff like that. And again, Milla Jovovich, she looks good. I'm not going to deny that. But one thing I was a little bit odd about this, but it's not just I think she looks good, okay? I actually think she's a solid actress, too. Again, like I said, I'm getting behind her a little bit more with these movies. But yeah, one thing about her, though, in this movie, it's not really her fault. It's like this weird choice. I forget what review mentioned it, but in certain shots, it looks like her face has been like airbrushed somehow, or like edited post-production or something to like make it look smooth, really smooth. Sometimes it looks alright from like far off shots, and you can see like just like sweat and stuff. But then close-up shots, it looks like it's for like a magazine or something, or like a promotional picture. I don't really think they need to do that. Milla looks fine as it is, and I think you want Alice to look a little bit dirtied up too. So I don't know why they want that little thing. Maybe I'm just saying things, but apparently others have noticed it too. But that part's a little bit odd, but I still really liked Milla in this movie. And like I said, the story is, T-Virus has dried everything out, and Alice, she's on her own, but she eventually makes contact with Ali Lauder's Claire Redfield again, and meets up with her as well as Carlos. And Carlos, played by Oden Fehr, I think he was like one of the decent additions early on in the movies. I think we first met him, I think it was in the second one, Apocalypse. I think he's a decent character. He is a character from the games, but he actually gets somewhat of a more focused role in the movies. And I've always kind of liked him in the movies, and he's fairly good in this one. We sort of get more looks between him and Alice, and when of course there's spoilers, but when Carlos sacrificed himself, it did get me in the feels a tiny bit. Probably not quite as much as they intend, but it was a nice little moment they have in this movie. And I'll talk more about that part in a little bit. But and then we also have Dr. Isaacs, played by Iain Glen, who plays, of course, Jorah Mormont on Game of Thrones. He returns in this one, and he's working on these clones of Alice, trying to perfect like this cure. But he's also needing her blood and such. And I'll admit, like the Dr. Isaac stuff in these movies, it gets a little bit convoluted sometimes. But maybe we'll talk more about general things like that as like a whole when I like rank the movies when I see them all or something. But Iain Glen, he's fine in this movie, and we'll talk about him and Alice's fight in a couple of minutes here. Like I said, I like Milla Jovovich in this movie. Oden Fehr is alright. Ali Lauder is fine too. The rest of the acting, it's pretty much average. I'm not going to give them a whole lot of credit with the rest of it, but Milla Jovovich, Oden Fehr, and Ali Lauder are all good. And of course, we have characters like LJ, I think his name is. He gets bitten, and it's a little bit odd that he doesn't tell anyone. Because it was kind of like the comic relief character in Apocalypse, from what I remember. It's been a few months since I watched that one, but it's a little bit odd that he doesn't tell anyone that he gets bitten, so he ends up causing even more chaos and chaos when he does turn. So I found that part a little bit odd. There are some pretty nice action sequences in this movie, I will say. There was like the crow thing, like infected crows that were feeding off the dead, and apparently that's turned them into like zombified birds, I guess. And they're obviously like CG birds, of course, and parts of it look a little bit off as far as the effects go, but it's not like completely horrendous, I guess. And it's alright. I like the fast-paced, like chaotic nature to it all. It's something I really like the action in this movie. It all feels very chaotic, but not totally disjointed, I don't think, in my opinion. but my favorite action sequence in the movie definitely goes with Alice. I love the blade she has in this movie, the machete type of things. I really like how like the choreography they give to Milla using those. And when she just slices down zombies left and right, cutting their throats and such, I would like more decapitations or something, but still it looks really cool with the blood. And I don't know, I enjoyed that whole shot there, where she just took down one after the other. And she also has like these telekinetic or like powers in this movie, and there's a cool shot where she uses like this card to clear out the crows and such, or like these flames. I think it actually looked kind of cool. I'm not sure how much they'll use that in the later movies, but we'll see. And then I also really like the final fight between her and Dr. Isaacs. I actually liked that they used some practical stuff for Dr. Isaacs' monster design that he mutates into at the end. I think that looks pretty good. Minus the CG tendrils, those look a little bit weird. Sometimes they kind of took me out of the fight when he would attack with them. But I still really liked it. And I like the ending. It was pretty cool with Alice finding all those clones and promising to come after Umbrella. So I like that. From what I read, the clones don't really last that long, but still, it's a cool way to end this movie, I thought. And like I said, I talked about Carlos's sacrifice earlier. He's a guy I did like in the movies, so it did get me a little bit. But I had seen this movie years ago as well, but I've been rewatching them, to sort of give them another go. And well, of course, I wasn't completely surprised. I liked how he went out here, smoking a cigarette. The truck, explodes, and then he clears the way for Alice and the others to get in and get the chopper. Alice, of course, stays. Dr. Isaac's fight, and we'll meet up with Claire in the next movie. But so we also have Jason O'Mara as Albert Wesker, and I kind of like Jason O'Mara as an actor. I liked him on Terra Nova. He voices an alright Batman, and I sort of liked his short-lived show. It was just on USA, but it was more like a medical drama show. I thought he made an alright Albert Wesker, but they switch it in the next one. I don't know why they just jumped him off the cast, but I still feel like they haven't found the right Albert Wesker, or maybe it's a combination of that and how they write him. Yeah, definitely how they write him, but overall, I did really like this movie, I'll be honest. It definitely has it's not flawless, but I think it's highly entertaining. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm starting to really like these movies, and I'm just going to embrace it. Overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. I don't think it deserves the critical lashing it gets all the time. People seem to look at it in a different way, and like I said, once I stopped thinking about the games, I enjoyed it for an action horror movie, and I think others could too. If they, kind of let go a little bit more that way. Enjoy the games for what they are, but then enjoy the movies for just being, solid action horror movies, and I think you might get somewhere. Or at least I did. Hate them if you want, but I think it's more fun to actually enjoy them. So, but if you don't, you don't. It's not for everyone. But overall, I would rate Resident Evil Extinction a solid B. So, I know what you guys thought about this movie. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I will join you guys later tonight for a review of the Season 4 premiere of The 100 within the next couple hours. So hope you guys will be ready for that. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.